There we go. So this is the gentleman, Sir Leo de Gale. He was the first Governor General of Grenada as an independent nation. So on February 7th, 1974, Sir Eric Matthew Gary, who was the Prime Minister of Grenada, named Sir Leo de Gale as the first Governor General of Grenada. He would have replaced at the time the governor, Sir Dame, um, sorry, not Sir, Dame Hilda Bynoe. She was the first female governor of Grenada and only female governor to date, under the old colonial system. Of course, we know we have the current governor general who is a female, but Dame Hilda Bynoe would have been the only female governor under the old colonial system in the pre-independence days of Grenada. So Sir Leo de Gale replaced Dame Hilda Bynoe as the head of state, representing, of course, the British monarchy or the British crown in England. So who exactly was Sir Leo de Gale? So Sir Leo de Gale was born in 1921. He's originally from the parish of St. Andrew. So both Sir Eric Matthew Gary, the first Prime Minister, and also the first Governor General of Grenada, Sir Leo de Gale, both came from the parish of St. Andrew. So last week, Sir Eric Matthew Gary learned that he was originally from Soubise in St. Andrews, and Sir Leo de Gale was from St. Andrews, just the parish. I'm not sure which community, right? So his father was George de Gale. So George de Gale was known as a agriculturalist, and they owned lots of land, agricultural land in Grenada. So the de Gale family owned lots of land, especially in the St. Andrews area. And his mother was Marie de Gale. So this was Sir Leo de Gale. So born in 1921. So Eric Matthew Gary was born in 1922. So they were just a year apart. So definitely age comrades, in terms of they were just 1 year apart in age. So Leo de Gale attended the Grenada Boys Secondary School. So he's an old boy of the GBSS, and just recently the GBSS would have celebrated 138 years as a secondary school institution. So one of the political or historic figures that came from GBSS would have been Sir Leo de Gale as the Governor General, right? The other Governor General who came from GBSS was Hubbard Blaze, I believe, was also a GBSS old boy, right? So, in terms of GBSS producing Governor General so far, it's two, right? Sir Leo de Gale and Hubbard Blaze. Once he finished secondary school, he migrated to Canada, where he studied at the Sir George Williams University in Montreal, Canada. So he studied accounting. He later would become a qualified accountant. So he studied accounting in Montreal, Canada. And of course, just a little plug again, make sure you're liking and following our Facebook page. And if you're watching on YouTube, that you are subscribing to our content on YouTube. So again, I just a little reminder. So Leo de Gale is a war veteran, meaning that he served during World War II. So World War II was between 1940 or 1939 to 1945, and Sir Leo de Gale served as a gunner, not for the Grenada or the British Army. There was a British West India regiment that people from the Caribbean served on. He served instead for the Canadian Regiment during World War II as a gunner. After the World War II ended in 1945, Leo de Gale returned to Grenada. So he made his way back to Grenada in 1945. During 1945 to 1974, that period before he became the first governor general of Grenada, he served in many capacities, and it's quite impressive the number of committees and boards that Leo de Gale served on during that pre-independence period. So I'm just going to read out a few here because they're just too numerous to mention. So what essentially I can take from this, or you can take from this, is that he was a man that gave service to his country in many ways, right? He gave service in many ways, and he did that by serving on many boards and committees. So he was a Catholic, so he served on the Catholic Men's Society. He also served on the Red Cross. So you know the Red Cross, that's right, the Red Cross. He was chairman of the Grenada Banana Cooperative Society. He was also chairman of the Public Service Commission at a time. He served on the board of directors for his alma mater, the Grenada Boys Secondary School. He also served as chairman of the Grenada Breweries Limited. He was a member of the West India Committee, and that would have been one of the committees responsible that eventually, when Grenada got into federation, right, there was this West India Committee. That was a committee that T.A. Marichaud would have headed that committee in the build-up to the West Indian Federation of 1958. So Sir Leo de Gale sat as a member on that committee. He was also part of a Grenada Volunteer Constabulary. So that was an association to gathering volunteers, etc. He served on that. So as I mentioned, he was a man that gave lots of service to his country in the capacity of serving on these boards and committees before he became Governor General on February 7th, 1974. So when Grenada entered into an independent nation on February 7th, Sir Leo de Gale became the first Governor General. Sir Eric Matthew Gary at the time um, was the Prime Minister, and he would have appointed Leo de Gale as the Governor General. Before that, in 1969, the title of Order of British Empire, OBE, was bestowed onto Leo de Gale, so he had those titles, Leo de Gale, OBE. He was also a qualified and professional accountant. He gave up that for a short period of time to serve as Governor General, but he did have his own accounting firm with a partner, De Gale and Rapier, was the name of the company, and they did accounting and auditing. It was an accounting and auditing firm, as Sir Leo was a qualified accountant, having studied accounting in Canada. So he was a professional man. He reigned for 4 years, so he reigned from 1974 to 1978 as Governor General. And in 1979, March 1979, was the start of the Grenada Revolution, in which Gary was overthrown, and the New Jewel movement, led by Maurice Bishop, became the government of Grenada. So he served right up until the end of 1978, and then it is believed that he was expelled at the end of 1978 by Gary. But again, that's not a verified account, but it is believed that he was expelled at the end of 1978 as Governor General, and then not long after, Grenada went into that revolutionary period from 1979 to 1983. So in 1978, once his services were no longer needed, which is a nice way to say it, his services were no longer needed, he migrated to England, and that's where he would spend the remaining years of his life. So he lived in England right up until his death. He died at age 64 uh, on March 23rd, 1986. Right, so he died relatively well, he's only 64. He died in England, and of course, after Sir Leo de Gale, the next Governor General that the history books would tell us would have been Sir Paul Scone. So Sir Paul Scone was the Governor General after Sir Leo de Gale. So education on Sir Paul School will probably come. Sir Paul Scone will probably come in another program. But we just want to stop here in terms of Sir Leo de Gale. So that's a bit about the first Governor General of Grenada. At a time, his family dedicated his medals that he had achieved through the World War II to the Grenada National Museum. So I know the museum is under reconstruction and they're doing some renovation there, right? But when it opens back, hopefully you could go in there and see those war medals that is the De Gale family dedicated to the Grenada National Museum as a historic artifact. So that's the teaching today on Sir Leo de Gale. Let's take a short break and we will be right back. Of course, before we take the break, if you have not liked and follow us yet on Facebook, like and follow us, and of course, share the program so that we can reach a broader audience. Share the program so that we can reach our broader audience. But we'll take a break and then we'll be right back in a few and we'll talk about the national symbols of independence.